Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fluent English Daily. In today's C1 English grammar lesson, we are going to explore all the major types of conditional sentences. We will study the zero, first, second, and third conditionals, as well as mixed and inverted conditionals. Conditional sentences help us connect a condition with its possible, imaginary, or expected result. However, choosing the correct form depends on three important ideas: time, reality, and meaning. Are we talking about the past, present, or future? Is the situation real, possible, unlikely, or completely imaginary? By the end of this lesson, you will understand how each conditional form works and how to choose the correct structure. Let's begin. Before studying each form, let's look at the complete conditional map. Every conditional sentence connects a condition with a result. The zero conditional describes general truths, facts, habits, and repeated results. It normally refers to real situations in the present. The first conditional describes a real or possible future situation. The second conditional describes an imaginary, unlikely, or unreal situation in the present or future. The third conditional describes an unreal past. It imagines a different result for something that has already happened. Once you understand the time and level of reality, choosing the correct conditional becomes much easier. We use the zero conditional for facts, scientific truths, rules, habits, and results that happen repeatedly. The structure is if plus the present simple, followed by the present simple. For example, if you heat water to 100 degrees Celsius, it boils. This is a scientific fact. Whenever the condition happens, the result happens too. Another example is, if people do not sleep enough, they feel tired. This describes a general result rather than one particular future event. In the zero conditional, we can often replace if with when without changing the meaning. For example, if I drink coffee at night, I cannot sleep. And when I drink coffee at night, I cannot sleep. Both sentences describe a repeated pattern. Remember that the zero conditional is not about imagination. It describes something generally or consistently true. We use the first conditional for real future possibilities and likely results. The structure is if plus the present simple, followed by will plus the base form of the verb. For example, if it rains tomorrow, we will stay home. The rain has not happened yet, but it is a genuine future possibility. Another example is, if you practice every day, your speaking will improve. The condition is realistic, and the future result is possible or likely. Although the meaning is about the future, we normally use the present simple after if. We do not usually say, if it will rain tomorrow. Instead, we say, if it rains tomorrow. The result clause can contain will because it describes the future consequence. So remember, present simple in the condition clause, but future meaning in the result clause. We use the second conditional for imaginary, unlikely, or unreal situations in the present or future. The structure is if plus the past simple, followed by would plus the base verb. For example, if I had more time, I would learn another language. This suggests that I do not have enough time now. Another example is, if she lived closer, we would meet more often. In reality, she probably does not live close to me. The past form does not necessarily describe past time. Instead, it creates distance from reality. In formal English, we often use were with all subjects. For example, if I were you, I would wait. This is more formal than if I was you, and is especially common when giving advice. Use the second conditional when imagining a different present or an unlikely future possibility. We use the third conditional to imagine different past situations and results. The structure is if plus the past perfect, followed by would have plus the past participle. For example, if I had studied harder, I would have passed the test. In reality, I did not study hard enough, and I did not pass. Another example is, if we had left earlier, we would not have missed the train. The condition did not happen, so the imagined result did not happen either. The third conditional is commonly used to express regret, criticism, or imagined alternatives to past events. It allows us to think about how the past could have been different. However, the past cannot now be changed. So when you see had plus the past participle in the condition and would have plus the past participle in the result, you are usually dealing with an unreal past situation. Mixed conditionals connect different time periods. The first common mixed conditional connects a past condition with a present result. The structure is if plus the past perfect, followed by would plus the base verb. For example, if I had studied medicine, I would be a doctor now. The decision about studying medicine belongs to the past, but its imagined consequence belongs to the present. In reality, I did not study medicine, so I am not a doctor now. Another example is, if she had accepted the job, she would live in London now. She did not accept the job in the past, and as a result, she does not live in London today. This form is useful when a past decision, action, or event explains why the present situation is different. Think of it as past cause, present consequence. The second mixed conditional connects a present condition with an imagined past result. The structure is if plus the past simple, followed by would have plus the past participle. For example, if I were more careful, I would not have made that mistake. Being careless is presented as a current personality characteristic, but the mistake happened in the past. Another example is, if he knew English better, he would have understood the lecture. His present level of English helps explain why he failed to understand the lecture in the past. This form is less common than the first mixed conditional, but it is very useful when a continuing personality trait, ability, or present situation explains an unreal past result. Think of it as present reason, past imagined consequence. Always identify the time of each clause separately. Not every conditional sentence begins with if. We can use several other connectors to express different kinds of conditions. Unless means if not. For example, unless you hurry, you will miss the bus. This means if you do not hurry, you will miss the bus. Avoid using a second negative after unless. We also use as long as to mean that something is possible only under a particular condition. For example, you can join us as long as you are on time. Provided that introduces a strict condition. For example, we will approve it provided that the data is correct. Finally, in case means that we do something because a particular event might happen. For example, take an umbrella in case it rains. These connectors make conditional sentences more varied and precise. Conditional result clauses do not always need to use will or would. We can use different modal verbs to change the meaning. Use can to express ability or possibility. For example, if you practice, you can improve quickly. Use may or might when the result is uncertain. For example, if the weather changes, the flight might be delayed. Use should to express advice, politeness, or a low possibility. For example, if you should need help, call me. This sounds more formal than if you need help. We can also use could for a possible or available result. For example, if we had more time, we could discuss it. Choosing different modal verbs allows you to express possibility, uncertainty, ability, advice, or politeness more accurately. At C1 level, we can sometimes remove if and invert the subject and auxiliary verb. This creates a more formal and elegant style. For a formal first conditional, we can use should. Instead of saying, if you should need help, please contact me, we can say, should you need help, please contact me. For a formal second conditional, we use were. Instead of, if I were in your position, I would apologize, we can say, were I in your position, I would apologize. For a formal third conditional, we begin with had. Instead of, if I had known earlier, I would have helped, we can say, had I known earlier, I would have helped. These structures are common in formal writing, speeches, literature, and professional communication. Now it is time to practice. Choose the correct conditional form for each sentence. Number 1. If I blank more time, I would travel more. Number 2. If you heat ice, it blank. Number 3. If she had called me, I blank helped her. Number 4. Unless we leave now, we blank late. And number 5. Had I known the truth, I blank differently. Pause the video and write down your answers. Before choosing the verb form, identify the meaning of the sentence. Is it a general fact, a real future possibility, an imaginary present situation, or an unreal past? Also pay attention to the time relationship between the condition and the result. When you are ready, continue to the final slide to check your answers. Let's check the answers. Number 1 is, if I had more time, I would travel more. This is the second conditional. Number 2 is, if you heat ice, it melts. This is a general truth, so we use the 0 conditional. Number 3 is, if she had called me, I would have helped her. This is the third conditional. Number 4 is, unless we leave now, we will be late. This describes a real future possibility. Number 5 is, had I known the truth, I would have acted differently. This is an inverted third conditional. Let's review. Use the 0 conditional for facts and habits. Use the first conditional for real future possibilities. Use the second conditional for imaginary present or future situations. Use the third conditional for imaginary past situations. Use mixed conditionals when the condition and result refer to different time periods. Master the time logic first, and the grammar patterns will become much easier. Thank you for watching, and keep practicing your English every day.